Welcome to Metro Matters. Today, my guest is Josh Swetnam. Josh is one of the co-directors with our Louisville Metro Office of Resilience and Community Services. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you, Althea. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for being here. So, you're a newbie, so I can't say you, well, your department is a friend to this show. Last week we had Cassandra Miller on talking about neighborhood services. We always have someone from RCS, so we are thankful for that. But you've been a newbie. You started about 2 months ago?
It's been, I have, I've kind of taken to saying I'm not brand new, but I'm still new enough to be able to claim that. Started in late February, so creeping up this month on 6 months. So not quite a rookie, but definitely not a veteran yet.
So you are a co-director with Patricia Williams. So tell us a little bit about your journey to this role.
Well, so I've been a social worker for over 25 years. Grew up here in Louisville. I went to school down at WKU. At some point, moved to Chicago, lived and went to school up there and worked up there, but came back home and been back home for 20 years now. But have been in social services my whole adult life. Have done just about everything there is to do in the world of social work and social services. And then later in my career, I've moved into administration, leadership, supervision, and have worked in nonprofits, but was really excited with the opportunity to work for Louisville Metro.
How has your background prepared you for being a co-director? Because RCS has so many different programs and initiatives in that under that department. So talk a little bit how all of that prepared you for this role.
Sure, and maybe I can say just a little bit about that structure of having co-directors, because it's something that's I think it's new, it's a little unique to have two directors instead of one. But this was the vision of Deputy Mayor Nicole George, who oversees, among other departments, oversees resilience and community services. I had worked with her years ago on a project to reform child welfare, and we were on a task force together. That's where I first got to know her and know her work. So I was excited to reconnect and work with her at Louisville Metro. And I know her vision in having two directors was to kind of have strengths that complement each other. We say partner in service. Patricia Williams, co-director. She has an extensive background in human resources, administration, grant management, leadership roles, as well as nonprofit experience. Even though I've been in leadership roles, come from that direct service kind of frontline work perspective. And so the goal is to complement each other, where she has strengths in administration and I have the direct service experience, that we work to oversee those parts of RCS. And kind of play to our strengths, but then we also support each other. We kind of back each other up. So it's an interesting arrangement, but I think so far it's worked well because we do have each other's back and kind of complement each other. But a lot of what I do is spend time kind of looking at our outcomes, the quality of our services, looking where we might want to make things even better, and certainly keep looking at what our community needs and how we as a whole department can address that better. For example, expanding mental health services would be one area. But things that I've got a background in that I can hopefully help the department with.
So what was it about RCS that attracted you?
So like I said, I've been a social worker. I have worked with RCS on the provider side for years. I've had countless families that I've referred for the services that RCS provides, whether it's LIHEAP for utility assistance, rent assistance when somebody needs a little help kind of making it to the next month with their rent, Meals on Wheels, senior services, even housing. There's so much that RCS does, and I have been connected as a provider for so many years. So I haven't been on this side, to kind of be on the administrative side and kind of be that hub working with all the nonprofits. So I was kind of excited to do the work from a different perspective.
So early on I said, RCS has been a friend to this show for a long time, but go into what RCS really is for our new listeners. What is RCS? What do they have to offer? And talk a little bit about, how many employees you have to make things just work.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you asked because I feel like within Metro, sometimes folks don't know what we do at RCS. And part of that is because we do so much. We are a big umbrella with a lot of programs under that umbrella. So, it's resilience and community services. Obviously, within the name, you can tell that we're trying to serve our entire community. The resilience piece, resilience is being able to bounce back. And I think especially over the past few years, as we've gone through so many things and kind of on the other side of COVID, we know that resilience as a city is crucial, for children, individuals, families. So a lot of what we do really fits that mission. So we've got core programs, and I'll just tell you a little bit about each one. So I know you're familiar with Neighborhood Place. Having talked with Cassandra Miller, who's led that program for 27 years. And we'd love to keep her for 27 more. But Neighborhood Place is basically a whole agency, social service agency in and of itself. 8 locations all throughout the county. The mission and the vision for Neighborhood Place was to basically have a location right by your home where you could go without having to travel outside of your community to get basic services you need, basically a one-stop shop. So we partner with DCBS, Child Welfare Services. We partner with JCPS. We partner with the courts. We partner with other nonprofits, basically to provide all those services under one roof. And it's a collaborative arrangement. In addition to the Metro services we provide, which are a lot of assistance, like rent assistance and utility assistance, but the goal is someone comes in the door and they can receive all these services in one place. So Neighborhood Place, it's a nationwide model. It's an innovative concept, still going strong after 31 years. So a lot of our essential services come out of Neighborhood Places, but we also have our homeless services division. So the city's response to those who are unhoused, providing outreach, trying to connect them with services, help find housing and other essential services, is under RCS's umbrella as well. We have a housing and support team where we serve, I think, somewhere between 400 and 500 households, providing permanent supportive housing.
Is that does rental assistance go under that, or? It's
not the same program, but they can work together. One of the things, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about this, but one of the things that I'm most excited about is the fact that this is a continuum. RCS touches so many services and then connects with so many other providers in the community. The goal is to be able to help people kind of wherever they are on their journey. So the housing team does not provide the rental assistance, but Neighborhood Place does. But if someone was to find themselves unhoused and kind of work through the process to get a voucher and be eligible for that, our team could take that voucher, find permanent housing, a landlord that will work with our team and get them housed so they can be off the street for good. In addition, they provide ongoing support. So it's not just we help you get a home and then you're done.
We leave you.
We're there every step of the way to say, hey, what do you need? To make sure that the housing conditions are good, working with the landlord if there's any concerns, being able to help folks connect to what they need, including finding, better and better employment, increasing their income. Some of our folks even leave that program into even more stable housing, like buying a home. And so it's an exciting program. It's part of the whole continuum of how we help the housing needs of the community.
And so with what you just talked about, the programs that you just talked about, if somebody's listening today and they want more information about that, how do they find out?
Well, they can go to louisvilleky.gov. If you just search RCS, we'll pop right up. And then there's, it's almost overwhelming. There's so much information because we do so much, but you can find links to all of our different programs in the website. And then also you can find links to where you can schedule appointments for either like utility assistance or for our rent assistance program. We use a scheduling system. You can go there right from Louisville Metro's website.
How many employees does RCS have?
We've got, I think, around 150 active employees. But then we also have a team of seasonal employees that also are crucial to our mission. And usually they're working in our LIHEAP program. That's another one of our core services. LIHEAP is low-income energy assistance. And it's a seasonal program. It's not year-round, but it is operating much of the year to help folks with their utility bills. At different times we also help with water bills and can even help with a brown bill if someone's facing disconnection. So it's kind of an essential lifeline for the community.
So that if you need more information, go to louisvilleky.gov
and just
put RCS in the search.
Yeah, the web address is really long, but if you type RCS or Resilience and Community Services, you'll get right to us. I don't want to leave out our other programs too, just because I want to make sure I'm giving everybody the shout outs. We've got senior nutrition, which includes Meals on Wheels, as well as senior meal sites throughout the community for our senior citizens to get a good hot meal every day. We also have our advocacy, outreach and advocacy program, where we are connecting seniors with the Foster Grandparents Program or the Retired Seniors Volunteer Program. And we work with AmeriCorps through that program.
You work with AmeriCorps for, say that again?
It's a funder for our outreach and advocacy. So providing funding and opportunities for seniors to engage in meaningful.
And what is considered a senior?
Well, I might have to defer to our staff on the specific requirements of the program, but I would think, if you're looking at anyone 55 and up, and if I'm wrong, they'll correct me on that. But I think that's our guideline, or 60. Sorry, thanks. 60 and up.
60 and up. Okay. So, any more programs you want to shout out?
Let me see. I want to make sure if I left anybody out, I'll make sure I bring it up.
So, you didn't come from government before you took this job. What has surprised you about working a government position?
So I think,
or even not just working in government, but working for RCS. Since you were on the other side, now you're running the show. So what has surprised you?
So not only have I worked for nonprofits, but I've worked for some larger nonprofits and some smaller nonprofits. Sometimes you can be a little more kind of fast, a little more nimble in the nonprofit world. But of course, there's a lot of other challenges that come up, especially around funding. So I think that's one of the trade-offs I've noticed. There's maybe we could kind of be in a smaller organization, kind of make turns and adjustments very quickly. Obviously Metro government, it's a large system. It's a large agency. We're working within that, and we're also working with Metro Council as well. And so I'm learning all of the pieces that have to fit together as you're trying to move a new initiative forward or secure funding or just kind of through the day-to-day operations. And so again, as someone who's fairly new to government, I'm learning that process. I've had some great mentors though so far along the way. Everyone really, to a person, has been really welcoming, accommodating, and really supportive for I think both me and Patricia as we've kind of been on this journey. So I'm grateful for that.
So on that note, let's take a moment for a brief break.
There are some new boys in town, and they're ready to make their mark. Just as soon as they wake up. Come see the koalas, now at the Louisville Zoo, presented by Ford.
Well, welcome back to Metro Matters. Today, we are talking about RCS, and that is the Louisville Metro Office of Resilience and Community Services. My guest is Josh Swetnam, and I want to make sure I get that last name correct. And he is the new co-director for the office. So Josh, before we went on break, you were kind of shouting out the various programs that you have in the office under that department. You have a number of programs, and are there more that you want to talk about before we dig into something else? And
thank you for asking. The one more I want to make sure that I mention is our financial empowerment team. They work with a lot of our nonprofit partners in the community, including Louisville Urban League and others, to provide individual and group financial counseling, workshops, trainings. The goal being to really increase the percentage of Louisvillians who are banked, who are able to save, and we're even working on an initiative to help folks prepare for buying their first home. It's a great program that also sponsors the free VITA tax preparation assistance that we offer for the community, free of charge. So they're really working to improve the financial health of Louisville, which is just, again, part of that whole continuum of services to kind of help at every step of the way.
Let's go ahead and give out that web address. And if you have a phone number that you would like to give, let's give a phone number as well, because everybody, sometimes we just take for granted that everybody has access to a computer. So for those that don't, let's give out a phone number as well.
Absolutely. And we've got a great front desk admin assistant, Natalie. She'll be happy to take your call. 574-4377 is our front desk number. And you can follow the prompts to get to any of the services that we're mentioning today to help you access RCS's programs. And then again, LouisvilleKY.gov, and just type in RCS in the search bar. You'll get right to us, and that'll also give you access to information about our services and how to access help through RCS.
I want to go back and talk a little bit about the co-director roles. So Director Williams has the HR background, so does she handle more of the operations part? Let's talk about, can you kind of break that down for me? Because in Louisville Metro, I've been here for several years, and I hadn't heard of the co-directors before. So kind of break that down for us.
Sure. So, and again, I think the idea is to complement each other, but also play on each other's strengths. So she oversees our planning and compliance department, which is the division within RCS that handles our external grants. One of the things RCS does, and I want to make sure I mention this as well, we are a significant funder for nonprofits in the community. And so those grants run through our planning and compliance department, and they make sure that the money is being distributed to our nonprofit partners, and also just kind of helping manage those relationships through the year. So again, that plays to Patricia's background as an administrator. She also oversees our HR operations, our IT infrastructure, other administrative duties, and she does directly oversee our senior nutrition and our outreach and advocacy, our volunteering programs. She also has a major hand in leading our community action efforts. We are a community action agency. So community action has a long history going back decades as a national model. We are the community action agency for this region, which means that we are part of a bigger vision of fighting poverty and helping empower the community and strengthen the community. So we simultaneously operate as a community action agency, just like many others throughout Kentucky. And she is a board member for Community Action Kentucky and helps lead those efforts as well.
And so under RCS, so one of my other roles here with Louisville Metro Government is boards and commissions. And so under RCS, you guys have a couple of boards as well, and that is CAP, the Community Action Partnership Board.
Yeah, a local board. There's a statewide board, then we have our local CAP, which helps guide us and really help keep us on track. One of the things that I support, but I think Patricia leads, is just looking at our data collection, our outcomes, and how we report those. That's a big part of what we do with community action. And I really have come to appreciate kind of the vision of community action, where we're really trying to kind of move the needle in several key categories, including increasing income, improving housing stability, improving education, and employment. These are kind of big picture things that we know RCS is a part of, is trying to help make our community healthier. And also, that kind of reminds me to give a plug for when you go to our website, to our section of the website, there's a dashboard, an RCS dashboard, and we have a great amount of data on all of our programs there to kind of help give you a snapshot of what we do.
Mm-hmm. And another board that you have is the Commission on for Disabilities. And so you also, under RCS, is the Office for Seniors and Aging, I believe. Did I say that correctly? And so can you give us a little shout out about that office? And
so that would be working with our outreach and advocacy team, that the team that also administers our foster grandparents and retired senior volunteer program. And so I know that they're always looking for folks to provide input, participate, volunteer, and assist the work of that board, and basically ensuring that we're doing better for our seniors in our community.
Absolutely, that's important.
Yeah.
I wanted you to make that point, that there is a department within Louisville Metro that are looking at senior issues relating to our senior citizens.
We get a fair number of calls from senior members of our community looking for resources or asking for help with troubleshooting various things that are going on with housing or other needs, and that our team always jumps in to try to connect them with the right person, the right program, the right agency, help meet those needs. Each of our neighborhood place sites also has a community advisory council, and that's made up of the people that we serve. And so we welcome folks to participate in their local community panel or board with Neighborhood Place.
So 6 months on the job, had worked with this department prior to taking on this role. What's your vision moving forward?
So we've just engaged on an action planning, and I know Mayor Greenberg supports this. It's not a strategic planning process, it's an action planning process. Because sometimes strategic plans can just kind of be filed away and just be on paper. We want to be accountable to taking action. We want this to move the needle. So we're excited about that. We've just started that process. We kind of had to get our feet wet before we jumped into that planning. But I can tell you that, even at this very early stage, one is to realize the potential of that continuum that we've talked about, rather than looking at ourselves as a collection of individual divisions and programs, that we are all part of one whole, and that part of that is enhancing communication and partnership, even within our department. Certainly, we want to make sure that we're strengthening our partnerships outside of Louisville Metro government, because, let's face it, the challenges of our community require all of us, whether you're private, public, nonprofit, for-profit. It takes all of us to kind of pitch in when we address the needs of the community. So strengthening those relationships and then leveraging those relationships to really just move the needle in our community in terms of economic stability, housing stability, reducing homelessness, improving the welfare of children and families. So that's a big piece of what we're striving for. Also looking at always moving towards enhancing our outcomes. I think we've got great outcomes as a team, and I want to just commend the team that we have. As big a team as we are, I've been just really surprised a little, and extremely humbled by just how great and how skilled and talented the team is. So they're doing great work. I think we serve I was looking it up this morning. I say it's been over 34,000 people that we served last year, over 15,000 families. So we're serving a lot of our community members. Those are the outputs. We're always looking for even if we're doing great work, how can we then also improve those outcomes? Which means that we're even more effective at what we do. That whether it's what we're doing internally or how we're partnering with those outside of Metro, how are we actually always just doing better for the citizens of Louisville? And that requires some vision, creativity, and again, connection with everyone else who's doing this work.
So our time is coming to an end. What would you like to leave with our listeners today? about your department and your leadership.
Well, first of all, I would just say that I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here. Certainly appreciative of all the experiences and all the relationships that I've had with our community that I think will help me do a better job as director or co-director of RCS. So sense of gratitude, and I would think that I would just encourage anyone, whether you're a citizen who's receiving our services, or someone who is partnering alongside the work, or even just someone who's kind of an outside observer, get involved. You know, even if that's just giving us feedback. We always want to do better, so we appreciate any constructive feedback, guidance from our partners. But if you want to get even more involved, we've got lots of opportunities for volunteering, whether it's a one-time event or being an ongoing volunteer. So we would ask for folks to get involved where they see a need and feel called to get involved.
And to get involved, they would need to call
574-4377, or again go to our Louisville Metro website, louisvilleky.gov.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for being here. RCS just covers with all the programs and initiatives that your office offers. You do a tremendous job within the community.
Appreciate the chance to talk about RCS and share some of this information.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Feel free to come back anytime you want to, give out information. I think that I have the next couple of Wednesdays, I think there's going to be somebody on the show from RCS. So I really appreciate it. So to our listeners, tune in next Wednesday between 2 and 2:30 for another edition of Metro Matters.